Yeah, what it do, y'all? It's me, Paul Pitts, over here on the Buck City podcast. Man, I need to know y'all's opinion, man. So, look, I had a conversation with a partner, and we was talking about the difference between testing and the gambling side, the whole matching thing. This old stories. I want to know what y'all think, because my opinion is this: I think you could game test them, but look, when it comes to the matching and all that, there's a lot of people that do a lot of cheating, a lot of rubs. So you don't know who's really the true grand champion. You don't know what the dogs are really like because of the rub. Like I believe grand champion Joey, people are questioning his skills because the owner was known for rubbing his dog. So would you take a chance of your dog getting rubbed, or you just keep it in house, game test your stock and see what you got? Tap in and let me know what's good. I need to see the comments, man. Let me know what's up. I mean, I see it. Who's that? What's up, Melee? New suspect kennels. 1K rule. Yeah, you're on a Buck City Kennels live. Yeah, tap in, tap in, tap in. Let me know what's good. Yeah, man, we just sitting up on the show. I don't see no comments yet. Let me know when it's starting to get live into the building. We about almost 3 minutes in. We got Melee. I'm seeing comments, but I'm not seeing nobody in the chat. It looks like there's some moderators in here though. See some wrenches. I need to get up in there, tap in and join the chat. Matter of fact, I know. Let me see what I'm gonna do real quick. Hold on. Ooh. Yeah, man. Let me know what you think. I don't know how to navigate this a little bit better. Here we go. I'm about to stream this. Uh, Melee said, in his opinion, shit must be tested. Now going on the way of is to the beholder. He said historic 1K Rue says historically speaking, the match is the best. Why you say that? Why you say historically? I mean, well, the thing is though, I mean, yeah, in a way, because you got the SDJ, so you got the reports and people know about what's going on, so it kind of gets it out there, broadcasting and promotion and things like that. But I don't know. I'm just thinking from a personal standpoint, and if you got your shit tested, and I'm talking about like not just a couple minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like a real good, hard game test. I noticed when they're well, from what I understand, what I just know from my experience, when there's no money involved, then there's no cheating involved. So the real and raw uncut. Like back in the day, I know some people that had some really good dogs. I mean, turning shit out left and right. And they had the potential to be the best. But when they got into the square and they weren't the same. And it's not just because the competition was just all that great. It's the dog wasn't acting the same. And I believe it was because of the rub. There's different ways of rubbing. I mean, they can have the chemical rub, and they have that little spray stuff where they give off the female pheromones or whatever, so to make make the opponent less aggressive. All kinds of weird shit. So I was never really into the idea of matching. I yeah, because of the whole cheating thing. When you putting 20, 30, $40,000 down, I mean, shit, a motherfucker's gonna cheat. There's not too many people who's gonna stand on business and just say, okay, hey, if I take this loss, then I take this loss. How many motherfuckers that'll just say fair and square, just go ahead and take that loss? That's a down payment on a house. And they betting it on a dog. That's a tough one right there, man. That's always been the question for me. But I guess when when you taking it to the big leagues and people got money like that, then that's just what it is. And you get that reputation, you get known, you get the merit, you get the accolades and all that shit. What up, Hart and Finish Kennels? What up, Lamont Grant? What up, Sir Kennels? What it do? Yeah, let's cook. Tap in. Yeah, but I can dig what you're saying, though, 1K Rule. What's up with a young fam, K9? What's good with it, Brody? Yeah, I'm just sitting here just checking out the opinions, man, of what y'all think, man, when it comes to the matching and the testing. The difference. I understand the merits and the accolades and everything, but just that sometimes it's a lot of bullshit that comes with it. Unless you know some real stand-up guys. It's just a hypothetical question, hypothetical situation, something that was on my mind. Some people put a black eye in the game. A lot of bullshit in the game. So it's a lot different than it used to be. You know, it's not the 60s and the 70s. And even then you know, it's hard to tell. But even say if you're just looking for something, just say you're just looking for just a dog that you just want to work with. You want to just take weight pull, whatever you want to do. And there's a kennel, they're well known for doing whatever. But let's say they might have had a reputation for having good dogs, but you might have heard a little bit here and there that they, you know, rubbed a couple dogs. I remember that rumor was going on about Virgil, Grand Champion Virgil, DOA's Virgil. They said that his opponents got rubbed. But then again, I guess he produced some pretty good offspring. I mean, he was one of the youngest ROMs, so I don't know if that was all outsiders or if that was all, you know, inside the camp, and if they could have been doing the same things, could have been running the same tricks. Oh yeah, Melee new suspect Kennel said he watched a YouTube dog man a few months back. Said he used to rub his, huh? See, that's that bullshit, man. That's that bullshit I'm talking about. Rubbing like, man, like, because motherfuckers is thinking about the money. I remember I was talking about that with my stepdad back a while ago, rest in peace. He was like, he said, man, you gotta watch out because people be cheating. I said, man, because I'm reading the books, I'm thinking, and he was like, nah, man, people really be cheating, you know. So I was like, wow. He said, man, it's about the money. Come on, man. Nobody care about the dogs like that when you got that much money on the line. And after that conversation, I really started to think hard and started to second guess some situations, you know, like, man, you know, is it really that serious? Because everybody thinks about that. You know, they get that pup or that prospect and they're like, yeah, man, all these thoughts and all these plans and all these expectations. And it's like, yeah, within, and you working your dog, you fair and square, you doing everything the legit way. Just might have the couple vitamins, couple supplements, whatever. You doing it, you know, you basically doing it like Rocky. You know, all natural. You're running up the hills, doing all the shit. And this motherfucker coming here with some juiced up, rubbed down bulldog that ain't worth shit. And and he take your money and start telling everybody your dog is a cur. And you know your dog is the shit. And you didn't work this motherfucker. Put the blood, sweat, and tears in this motherfucker, man. And this chump and take your hard working money with his cheating ass. I don't know, man. I don't think I take that very well. It might be a problem. Shit. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into something, you know, put that motherfucker through the test, seeing that motherfucker got great potential, knocking motherfuckers out the ring like Tyson. and going the long haul, and then all of a sudden start looking like Pee Wee Herman when it comes to the mat. Nah, something ain't right. And there's something in the witch's brew. So I just made me. I just was thinking about that and just thought, I wonder what the audience would think about this. What would they say about a situation like that? How would they feel? They put in they hard work, and a motherfucker come around and just thieve it. That's highway robbery. That's stealing. That's thieving, man. Pure fuckery. What up, John Kramer? What up, Magic? What's going on? What it do? What it do? Native Gold. Native Gold's in the house. Let's see. Or they leave the yard in there. Right. Someone get exactly leave the yard and they be average at best. Yeah. 1K Root, you heard about that? Yeah, man. A lot of people heard about that gambler rub. Yeah, that was back in the day. Yeah, you're right about that, Buck City. She just take the fun out of everything. Shit. Another look at that. Everybody said, 1K Root said another look at is everyone got a hood Jordan. We feel like we should have made it to the league. Stand in your backyard, cool, but once you leave, that's true. You may get your heart broken. Yeah, yeah. But see, that's the thing. That's what made me think, because I'm thinking like, if you get your heart broken, is it because the opponent, they truly have the skills? Because they say everybody thinks their shit's the best until they run into something better, and then they realize how mediocre their shit is. But is the opponent, are they really that bad of opponent? Are they really that badass? Or is it something else behind it? And that's the part, because like, if it's fair and square, if it's straight down the middle, then okay, that's acceptable. Okay, boom, okay. That was the better dog, you're the better man, whatever. Shake hands, boom. But let's say you've been testing, you've been rolling, and that motherfucker's running through shit, snatching, and then you go, and all of a sudden, your dog start humping the opponent. What the fuck? What? Hold up. Why is my dog humping that dog? What? This dog ain't never humped on a dog. Never in none of his roles. All of a sudden now he's humping and panting and doing all this funny shit. People like, hold up, man. Something ain't right. This motherfucker done rubbed me, man. Shit, I know this motherfucker's devastating. This motherfucker panting and humping and trying to mount the dog and shit. What the fuck? Yeah, man, I heard a shit like that happening, man. That shit ain't cool. And it's like, man, because in my mind, I'm thinking, don't you want to know if your shit's good? Because if your shit's really trash, and then you read the shit and you sell it, and then people like, these pups is trash. Then that's just a quick buck. That's just a little bit of money, and then no longevity. Most people, if you're gonna shit real dog, man, I'm thinking, that's longevity. Because even when there's people that may not even, let's say there's some people that may not even really, know they're not hip. Because the game goes up and down. It goes up and down. Just like, I don't know how old some of y'all are, but I know in the early 2000s how it was. The late 90s, and then early 2000, and then mid, and then there was a time where it died down tremendously. I mean, it was just okay. A lot of people went underground, deep underground. Website shut down. Wasn't nobody really fucking with Pet Online. None of that. And then slowly but surely, it kind of started coming back a little bit. But then you still got these situations, right? So now there's some people who still are like, fuck it, I'm still trying to see what's up. But then it's like you gotta pick and choose and see, well, damn, who do I want to fuck with? Because I mean, I hoping they got some bulldogs, because there's some people who just ain't trying to fuck with everybody because they ain't trying to, deal with a certain situation. So they try to keep it real cool. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep it real low key. If you know. So they ain't trying to deal with too much of the public. But then there's some many people that's trying to get back in. That's it, but they want to make sure they fuck with the right people and not just fuck with anybody just because they're available. So then you got to go through that whole process again to find, oh shit, does this motherfucker really got some shit, or is it some bullshit? I'm gonna have to find out in a couple years. So I do understand why some people be wanting to see something right away, but my opinion, the youngest 18 months, no sooner than that. You know, give them their time, give them time to grow up. So it is what it is. Because then there's that too. There's a lot of people who they like to rush, and when shit doesn't work out, then it's, oh man, that's some bullshit right there. Well, you didn't give it time to mature. That's still a fucking puppy. At 18 months, that's still considered a puppy. 2 years old, that's considered young. That's not old. Some people, they don't take care of their dogs, so their dogs be looking super old at 5 years old. That's when the dog is just fully mature, 3 to 5. But yeah, all of that plays a factor. All of that, you got to factor all that in. The care of the dog, the upbringing, the all that stuff, the genetic makeup, and then it starts from there, and then gradually you work your way into all the other shit. So, but then you gotta, so that's why, I think it's bullshit when people cheat, because you start off, because some people look at it as just gambling, and that's why I say, testing versus gambling, because some people just look at it like this is a one-way gamble, and I'm in to win. Period. There ain't no taking chances, because if you really want to know, it's all rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice. If somebody say that it's not like rolling the dice, then they really don't know what they're talking about, or they're in it for the wrong reasons. Because it's all a crapshoot. Because you really don't know. All you know is the potential that you see and the potential that you can work with, and you go from there. And after that, then after that, let nature take its course. But the it's disappointing when people don't respect the game and they don't see it like how some others see it. And when it gets to that point, you know, it's not equally yoked. So then you got different mixtures in the game. And so then you gotta sift. You gotta sift through the bullshit. And that's what I was mentioning earlier. Sifting through the bullshit, knowing who's the bullshitters, who's the fakers, the phonies, the gamblers, the motherfuckers that really don't have love for the game, that really don't have love for the Bulldogs, that really don't have love for the tradition, that really don't have respect for the history. Because I mean, this shit goes back. You know, I was growing up reading those Richard Stratton books and all that shit. Read most of those damn books. The last book I read was that Ed Ferrin book, The Complete Game Dog. That one was very educational. Very educational. What do I think about cold male dogs? If it's a cold, oh, okay. No, this is what I think. If the motherfucker has not started, then it's not a car. If it has not started, then it's not a car. Period. From what I understand, wasn't what's that dog name? The one that was off a Spike. Damn, what's that dog's name? He's the one that produced that Black Angel dog. Little Gator. Yeah. Little Gator I heard Little Gator was cold. They said Little Gator was cold. And he produced well. Yeah. I also heard that Hollingsworth Dolly was cold. I heard that she was cold. And I also heard that when Honey Bunch, when she was younger, she didn't even start right away. She was young. She wasn't interested. And see, some people would have just, oh, fuck, get rid of her. She turned out to be one of the best bitches of all time, as far as, you know, production and all that shit. So just think if you had someone who just wasn't patient, they just said, oh, fuck this motherfucker. Get rid of this bitch. And then there'd be no Honey Bunch, no Jeep, none of that. No Charlie, none of that. No Missy. But they said, okay, give her some time, let her grow up, and then everybody know the story. You know, so yeah, if they're cold, that's totally different than going out there and they going out there 15 minutes and then all of a sudden they standing there looking up at you, looking around. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's no. That's goodbye. Goodbye. You was going hard for 15 minutes. You was going hard for 20, 30 minutes and you sitting there. What? Cross, motherfucker. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah. Get him out of here, man. But yeah, if they ain't never started, if they just kind of standing there and they just like, what's going on? Yeah, they either too young or just cold and just sit them up. No need to get mad at them. Just they're and usually in from what I understand, those ones usually produce better than the ones that are performers. Those ones usually produce the best. That's why some people you get some uh kennels that they keep all their dogs and then they sit there and assess their dogs and they say, okay, this one's the better performer, this one's the better producer. Who's that?
What's up?
Show
What's
enough.
up?
What you doing with your dick sucking ass? Show enough.
You a dick.
Show enough. What's up with your dick sucking ass, man?
You a dick sucker, nigga.
You dick sucking bitch. Get
You
your
a dick
ass out
sucker,
of here.
bitch, nigga. Bitch ass nigga.
What's going on?
Salute. This student for life, man. I just chiming in.
Yeah, what it do? What it do?
Ain't too much, man. Thank you for the info. Enjoying the show.
Yeah, man, we're just sitting there just chopping it up, man, and talking about these talking about the difference between the gambling and hard testing and
Yeah.
and how some people they put bullshit in the game with the cheating, the rubbing and all that shit, and you know,
Well, you know,
and
we
how
get to the
and how
high
it can
level.
fuck up the game.
Yeah, you know, we get to the high level of anything. You gonna have some motherfuckers want to cheat and try to get themselves an advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I particularly don't like that. I think a motherfucker, if he's gonna win fair and square. It's like a motherfucker can lose fair and square. Let
No doubt, no doubt. I got more respect for a loser that lose fair than a winner that cheat all day long.
oh yeah, exactly. Most definitely, man.
You
You
know.
know. Hey, you know what? I want to ask you. I want to ask y'all a question. Y'all know about Mike Narad, right? Rest in peace.
With the Red Dogs.
Yeah, with the Red Dogs.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. Why, in your opinion, why do you think he wasn't named as one of the greats when they had that Hall of Fame thing with all the great dog men? How come you don't think he was named?
I don't know for sure, but my best guess would be politics. You feel what I'm saying? Just like
I
everything
believe
else, who you know and shit. You know.
I believe so too, because he bred, raised, and campaigned his own dog. So why wouldn't he be named? You know what I'm saying? That was kind of weird to me.
Right, right. And I ain't I'm not so familiar with him that you know what I'm saying. I know his whole history and all, but I put it like this. I'm familiar enough where I would have guessed that he would have been. You know.
Yeah. And he was very knowledgeable. That was one of the dog men I talked to a lot. And he put me up on game. He said Grand Champion Art was one of the best dogs he's ever seen. That was his favorite dog that he ever favorite performer he's
Okay,
ever
okay.
seen was Grand Champion Art.
Now he ran Old Family Red Stones. Am I right?
Who?
Mike Norod.
Yeah, he had the old family red nose. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
on the right page there.
yeah, he had the red nose strain, and he believes that Red Boy was really old family red too. That it came from the Lightner shit.
Got you. Cause,
Yeah.
am I right? Nobody really knows the ped on Red Boy. Am I right?
No, nobody really knows the ped, but I mean, I've heard a few different things. I've heard that the ped is the way it that the pedigree's pretty much right, but it's really the other way around. It's like reversed or some shit. The top is
Okay.
really the bottom, and the bottom is really the top. And like
Got
some of the dogs that were back there, they're more close up or some shit.
I got you.
Yeah.
And being that man ran the Old Family Red Nose line and shit like that. I believe who would be better to identify a dog from that strain
Right. Right. Just like I was telling somebody the other day about Iron Dusty. Now, Iron Dusty and Ross Red Devil, they're the same dog. Iron Dusty and Ross Red Devil, they are the same dog. They just had different names. They had
Okay,
different owners. Yeah. So
got
those dogs, right? I mean that dog. They put side by side, put a picture of Ross Red Devil, aka Iron Dusty, it's next to Maritz Bud. You know, the gamblers sire,
you.
and they look pretty much identical. Same wide chest, same head, same thing. That's why he wanted to go through that Maritz Bud blood, because they said that through all the Millers and stuff, that they were the only Red Boy dogs that were like actual performers and not just producers.
Got you.
Because you know, a lot of those Red Boy dogs, they're just producers. They didn't win anything. They just got tested and they just bred, and they didn't win. They didn't win any matches or nothing.
But they produce some dogs that won.
Yeah, but they were, yeah, like Mr. Bulldog and all those other dogs. That Mr. Bulldogs, Marlowe's Mr. Bulldog.
I'm familiar, but not super familiar. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But
okay.
but like you said, Buck and Schoolboy was cooking on this a little bit earlier today, and they say, what's more important, a dog with the credentials and champions and grand champions, or the dog that's producing really good dogs, that sort of thing. And I think they came to the conclusion that to a breeder, the producers of good dogs is going to be more valuable, and to the box man, the dog with the credentials is going to be uh, more valuable or whatnot. So
Right.
it's one hand wash the other, because you can't have one without the other. Either way you go.
Exactly. Now, this is the thing too, is you get some people, I've been hearing a lot of people say lately, okay, they rather breed their dog to the champion, right? Because they believe in producing better as they go along, right? And
Right.
then you got some people like me. I like to tap into what produced that dog. So let's say you got a champion. I believe in breeding my dog to the dog that made the champion.
I'm with you. I like that too. I like that too. Like you said, then you're going back to that original source. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So instead of like moving away from it, that makes sense.
right. And see, because I used to ask Narad, like, well, what breeding would be this and that, and I used to ask him a lot of questions. Sometimes he'd get annoyed, but I mean, this was a while back. I want to say, shoot, I'm 44 now, so yeah, that was 20 years ago. We used to sit
Damn,
and have
man.
these conversations, man, and I'd be talking to him and asking this and that, and man, yeah, man, he had a lot of knowledge, man. So I kind of took heed to that. But see, me knowing what he told me made me sit back and observe a lot too.
Yep,
You
yep.
know,
And man, you don't know, you are super blessed. Me and you in the same age bracket. I'm just 3 years younger than you, but man, to be able to sit under the tutelage of a great like that and really learn it. You know what I'm saying? To have somebody that you can bounce those questions off of, and then come to your own conclusion and shit, man. That propel you years and years ahead in the dogs.
yeah, because like, man, and I was thinking, because back then, you just want to jump in, and it's just like, and like this one thing that he had said, he said, man, depending on, he said, you probably gonna live for a while. He said, man, you ain't gotta, he said, just wait and just see which dogs uh go, make it through the test of time.
Mm,
There's like he said, there's
mm.
always gonna be a flavor of the month. Always gonna be flavor of the month. Always, because I was asking about the Red Boy Jocko, because at that time, Red Boy Jocko Mayday was hot. I mean, it
Popping
was
fuck
nothing. You
yeah.
saw nothing but advertisements. I mean, them cats was always putting something on the internet. Another offspring of Mayday just made champion. I mean, it would be flashing all over the internet, lawless links. All man, it was crazy. And so I was like trying to figure that out. And he had his opinion, and other people had their opinions. And I would talk to some people from down south, and they would have a lot of they would talk a lot of shit about the Mayday dogs. But then you hear those people from the Carolinas, and they love the Mayday dogs,
Right.
So it's just
Right.
like, but them cats down in Texas, they laugh at the Mayday dogs. Yeah, they like that Boudreaux shit. They say, that Boudreaux's Bose. They say that Bose strain of the Boudreaux is kicking all ass.
And just that's like with everything. It's regional. I'm sure every
Right, I do
different region
believe.
you
Yeah,
go
it
to,
is regional.
you know what I'm saying? They got their favorites and whatnot, and it's gonna be made up. It's gonna be Mayday dogs in every region that kick ass. It's gonna be Boudreaux dogs in every region that kick ass and stuff. But you like say you have those pockets where one or the other is more popular, and everybody kind of ride with it and that sort of thing.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, see, I'm up here where a lot of hype is behind those red nosed dogs too, though. A lot of up here, a lot of people like the red nosed dogs. There's a lot of shows up here because you got a lot of UKC shows up here too.
I'm in VA. How far away are you?
I'm over here in Washington, Seattle.
Oh shit, yeah, cool. Okay, I got you.
Schoolboy in the building, the legendary schoolboy in the building, y'all.
Salute, Mr.
What's
Garcia.
happening, everybody?
What's going on, man?
I'm here. Late night, huh? We having a late night show. Welcome everybody in
Man,
the chat
appreciate
and
the
the panel.
presence.
Thank you. What are we cooking on tonight?
Yeah, just talking about these different bloodlines. I guess you had touched on it earlier about the difference between performers and producers, and we just talking about the different regions and which dogs are popular and all that. And
I caught the tail end of it. What Student for Life was mentioning. Yeah, I pretty much agree. A lot of stuff is regional. You're proud of your own, just like your own team.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then what makes them popular is if they can branch out and do good in other areas.
Yeah, exactly.
And just about everything has, to some extent. Some
Yeah.
dogs are bred more than others. So, some bloodlines are more popular. But the test is, how good did they do? Could they win with them? Back in the day, of course, I'm talking.
Right.
Most of them did something. And people have their preferences.
Yeah, up here in Seattle, man, there's a lot of people. Those red-nosed dogs were really popular up here, like because of a lot of the UKC shows and a lot of different breeders were breeding red-nosed dogs
Right.
because of the whole look. There's not much much of the history up here like that, like it would be, I guess, in Texas or something, where there's some legends that actually were down there in Texas and Louisiana and out there in the Carolinas and all that. It's kind of like a mixture, but yeah, a lot of people love the red-nosed dogs up here when it's so
Yeah.
you got a lot of different
If you're
types.
talking old family red nose, it started, or not started, but Hemphill made them real popular because
Yeah, right.
he used a lot of them, right? So he was from that area. But what really made, and like you're saying, they're unique looking, they're different.
Right.
But what really helped is Stratton's book.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
'Cause
indeed.
I read those books, and so and I would hear about like I was telling telling these guys, yeah, the Iron Dusty and Ross Red Devil, they're the same dog, and I would I would read the stories about those Narad dogs and all
Right.
that. And I believe that's what got me into it. But at the same time, the going like Barney. Well, he was Corvino bred, but
Same
so-
thing with Barney. You
Right.
never would have heard of him probably if it wasn't for the Stratton books.
No,
because his owner, there wasn't a lot of that blood around, and his owner, he didn't sell dogs or anything like that. But if it wasn't for that book, people would still know him, you know, if you were involved in the breed that way. But most people wouldn't, and you know, deservedly so. He was you know, he won 8 or something like that and lost 1.
right.
And it helped. It helped because it gave people reading the books, or the public, if you will, an idea of more than one bloodline or a few different dogs.
Right.
You
Man,
know,
I used to
different
love
bloodline.
I used to love reading those stories, man. Man, I used to love reading
Yeah,
those stories. I was like impressed. And then
yeah,
man, those stories about, and then that one book, I want to say that might have been the Ed Fearon book. They was talking about Sadie, the match between Sadie and Miss and what was that dog's name? Miss I think it started with an M. But yeah, that match, and then with Sadie had broken that dog's leg, and they were talking
yeah.
about the story with Rapid Roy, that dog
Right,
Rapid Roy,
right.
and he
Yeah, it was
didn't
probably
get
his book.
jaw, like something that happened with his jaws or something.
I don't know,
I
but I
think
heard he
he
was
get bit
like
by
a real hard biter.
yeah,
Yeah,
but he ended up with some type of disease that made his jaws like lock up or something, that made it where he couldn't open his mouth.
Damn.
oh, that's usually what is it?
Tetanus.
It's like tetanus, but for dogs, it's what are the shots? What are the 5-way? What does it have in it?
Leptospira.
Oh,
Distemper.
distempered. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
think that'll
okay, yeah,
it locks their jaws, and it makes their eyes uh real. You know, like if you was smoking weed, you know how your eyes get
okay.
Yep.
like that, almost
And, and
closed. You know.
If
if
I'm
they
not
survive,
mistaken, I believe that's what Rapid Roy ended up getting.
Okay.
and if they survive that
If I
distemper,
remember
man,
the story
they'll never be
correctly.
the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like some type of neurological shit that goes on with them, man, and they'll never be the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
motherfucker was a beast.
Yeah.
Would y'all say?
And
Would y'all say? I think like for me, um, reading those Richard Stratton books, man, they just opened up my imagination as a kid. I'm just thinking of like, damn,
Right.
these little dogs. I always been like a fan of the little guy in a fight or whatever else. But these little dogs that perform like super
Yeah.
dog feats and
Like
everything like that, man.
superheroes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Yeah.
made me want to jump in there, man. And would you say that popularity had grown kind of kind of messed up our breed?
Yeah, I like it. It's funny because I liked all dogs, but then when I read that book that had it had a description of all the different breeds. And when I read the description of the pit bull terrier, man, me reading that said, "Oh, this is my favorite dog right here."
Yep.
It
Yeah.
said the determination. It said lots of courage, determination, die hard attitude,
Yeah.
very smart, loyal, loving. I was like, wow, it's got all the boxes checked on this.
Yeah. I think
I heard
everybody felt that way, kind of for the common man. And if you have superheroes in the comics, it's kind of like that.
Right,
Something
exactly.
you
That's how
could,
I felt about the American Pit Bull Terrier, like it was a superhero dog.
yeah,
I
yeah.
grew up feeling that way, and nothing's ever changed. Like my mom,
Same here.
like
Yep.
even though I want a pit bull, and I was too young to own one back then. No, I can't wait till I grow up and own a pit bull like that.
As soon as I turned
Oh
18,
man, yeah,
Yeah, they have that.
that was something always big to me, you know.
my first dogs and my first favorite breed was the red bone coonhound. Growing up in rural Virginia, we hunt with them on the weekends and shit like that. But I'm just running through the woods, having fun. Those dogs would never let me out of sight. And they had a good bit of a good bit of fight to them too. You know what I'm saying? Like a stray dog will
Yeah,
want on us. Hey, bro, they
yeah,
they they put in work.
You know
yeah.
what? Come to think about it,
They'll get worked up sometimes and fight each other too.
right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That was the actually that was the next dog. If I couldn't have a pit, then it would have been nice to have like some type of hound dog, but I would have probably liked a beagle. I
Hmm.
don't know, because I just like the way they looked, and they, because
yeah.
a basset hound was too ugly, bloodhound was too big, and I didn't really know about those other hounds. Um, I heard about those. What did they call them? Those, what are they? A tick coon hound or something like that.
Blue, blue tick coonhound.
Yeah, blue. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, blue tick coon
Blue,
hound.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
yeah.
One of my friend of the family said, "Yeah, you should get one of them blue tick coon hounds." I was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that." But
Well,
yeah, they said
it's
those are pretty.
blue tick because of the ticking on their body, not the bug. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
spots on their body.
Oh, okay. Because I was
When you
wondering.
see the dots on a dog, the dots those are called ticks.
Okay, got you. Okay,
Yeah,
that's okay. That's why. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
But if you
okay.
don't know that, you think they're talking about a bug,
Right, so that's
bloodsucker
what
or
I was
something.
thinking. I was like, well, yeah, I was thinking something like that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it. Okay. Now I got it. Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Foxhounds are
are they
nice. They're
are
small,
they rough dogs?
athletic.
Because I'm starting to
Well,
hear a lot more about those hound dogs, and um I'm starting to believe that some of these new breed of bullies and pits, I believe that they were mixed with some of them hound dogs, man. Because some of those colors are
Like the
just a
Catahoula.
little.
yeah,
You said,
the blue ones probably got a lot of them have Catahoula in them.
Because they use it for hog dogs down south.
got you.
Yeah, yeah, and they're blue with the dark blue patch on them.
Yep.
Then okay, well then that would make a lot of sense, because they have that they have that rough attitude. They still are rough and you know.
Yeah,
Um, matter of fact, a buddy of mine, rest in peace, D. Smeeze. He went to go get this. He went to go get a blue dog a while, like this is some years ago, and the mom was, straight up pure UKC, with the ears clipped, 80 pounds, that typical traditional, you know, um, blue pit with that champion look, that, the champion show dog look, that whole,
yeah,
yeah.
staff.
But the dad, I mean, the dad looked like some type of, he looked like a hound or something. Like he looked like he had long ears. I'm like, is this
Yeah,
but I mean, the paper said, pit
yeah,
bull, but
yeah. Do you remember how it was bred?
it was Nevada, some Nevada blue, uh, but the dad didn't look like he came from that at all. He
Right.
looked like he looked like he, because my cousin was like, is he like a game bred or something? Because he kind of has that hound look, but
Yeah,
on paper, it says that it's UKC blue Nevada bred, but
right.
Sound like
but that,
them papers hanging like some laundry.
yeah, yeah, man, because
Could have been.
because
Could have
because
been.
the dog, because look, that boy, because he ended up getting that boy. The boy didn't look. I mean, he looked a little different, but he was tough though, and he was rugged and he was tough,
Yeah.
So we couldn't figure it out. We were like, man, hold up, because he's not pretty like the mom, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he's, yeah, it was weird. I was like, man, this is something different, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was his pride and joy.
That's what
Yeah,
matters. with the dogs and
Yeah,
you know,
as
that's
long
all
as
that
he
matters.
liked them.
And the dogs, I mean, he sure wasn't a punk. He wasn't a
Mm.
punk,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but yeah, it was it was just something because we went way out to Olympia to go get that dog, man. Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that was a drive. But
Yeah,
yeah.
one of the top dog guys back in the day from Washington was Lowell Lehman. Most people
Oh
probably
yeah.
hasn't heard about him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who's
Lowell
that?
Lehman and his brother Roger. They were around the 60s, 50s,
Oh, okay.
60s, 70s, early 70s, like that.
What part
They
of
used to,
Washington were they from?
I don't remember.
Hey,
And
have you ever
maybe I didn't know, but
did you so you knew some people from Washington?
well, I knew of him. I knew of them because I followed everybody in the magazines.
Did
So
you,
they had a
did you-
6-time winner named Dolly. Her brother was a 4-time winner, 1-time loser. They went on a 11 or 12 fight win streak at one time. They had it all
what,
in the magazine.
what was their name?
Lehman, Lehman.
That's the last
Lowell,
name?
that's their last name. Yeah, Lowell, Lowell, and Roger Lehman. They were brothers.
Did you ever hear of a guy named Aaron that was up here in Washington? I think he was in
No, I
Carnegie.
know. No, I knew of Aaron from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
think he was from the Chicago area.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
generally every state has some dog guy in it. There might be a
yeah,
couple that didn't.
because I'm
But
still trying to figure out where my uncle got this one dog from. Because I mean, there was a lot of talk about this dog. This dog had so much mouth. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I'm just like, what bloodline? Because for some reason, he doesn't know what bloodline that she came from. But he said
yeah,
when he went to go pick her up, he said the dad was a grand champion, a double grand champion. He was black. He said when he saw the paperwork, he said, man, he said the papers on the dog. He said, man, you can roll out a scroll from here to there. You know, he was like, he said,
yeah,
man, he said, but he said we didn't get the papers. He said, man, he just gave us dogs, man, because with
yeah.
man like that. But he knew the other bloodline.
Was the dog spotted?
No, the dog was red. The
Oh,
dog was
okay,
red with a black nose. That the sire was an all black nosed dog, and
right.
and and yeah. So, but he didn't know what bloodline, but he knew the bloodlines of the because he had some old family. He had some old family red and Kobe dogs, but then he went out and my uncles went out and ventured to out in Carnation and had got a pup from this other kennel. And they almost had, well, actually, they had passed on a dad, and the dad ended up being a grand champion or something. So he said, well, you passed on this one. He said, but I'll give you the daughter. And that daughter ended up being devastating. But I was trying to figure out who, what bloodline was it? Because
Right.
they knew some of the other people in the area. And there's a buddy of mine, I talked to his dad, and they were in the game dogs. And when I mentioned my uncle's name, he said, "Oh, I definitely know who he is." He said, "Yeah, I know who he is." And they knew about the dog, and I just don't know the bloodline. I'm just been trying to figure that out. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Well, if you figure it out, let us know.
yeah, I
Maybe
just don't
somebody I
know
heard of.
yeah, yeah, but I just know his name was Aaron. He just bred the dogs.
Right. John, what's happening, John?
Oh, John Kramer. Nah,
It
I
was,
think he left a message. He was leaving I think he moderator.
yeah.
What he said,
Yeah, he said,
Budweiser dogs or RFON.
or OFRN and Patrick Stuff Show Dog.
Oh, the Budweiser. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would like to. You know what? I would like to see a lot more of that. I remember OG Loco. He said he was thinking about when he was on here. He said he was thinking about maybe breeding one of his old friendly red dogs to a Patrick dog. I think that'd be a
Yeah,
good idea. I
yeah,
think
it's
that'd
been
be a
done
damn good idea.
several times.
Yeah.
The what's her name? Forgot the name now. We did a show for him. He passed away.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I mentioned it on the show, but I forget the name now. But yeah, it was the Bolio and basically Klaus dogs crossed,
Right. Right.
and the Klaus has OFRN in it. Yeah, there was a lot of them around here.
So the Klaus dogs have OFRN, or are they an
Yeah,
OFRN strain?
no, they have it in them.
Okay.
They're not a strain,
Okay. Okay.
but that even Red Baby.
Right. That yeah, exactly. Red baby. She's
She's
a Klaus dog.
she's right. Klaus and Bolio.
Right. Right. Okay. So Black Widow. Black Widow. She was part OFRN or something.
Yeah, most dogs have some in it,
Okay.
and most breeders used it to some extent.
Because when I look at when I'm looking back at the pedigrees and God forbid if they're all hung, but when I'm looking at the pedigrees, I'm like, I see a lot of dogs are tutor and OFRN crosses.
Yeah,
When I look, I say when I'm seeing that Williams and that Wallace, I know automatically that's OFRN.
yeah,
You see Williams or Wallace, you already know. And
yeah,
then all of a sudden you see Tudors or Carver. Oh, okay. So boom. But Carver, see, that's the thing about Carver. He would buy those dogs like that. Like just like if you really want to be technical, I guess Bolio is a Carver dog too, right? But then it's
yeah,
like,
pretty much.
yeah, so you got Boudreaux and the Carver, because when I was younger, I used to think Boudreaux and Carver was one and the same, but it's not necessarily true. He just had some
No,
Boudreaux dogs, and
yeah. When he started using Bully Son stuff, Eli stuff, he added it to his. That's where you get the Boudreaux and the Carver. But he started out with Kobe Leitner dogs, and then went to the Ed Crenshaw stuff, which is Kobe Leitner too.
Yeah, basically.
And then he added some Black Widow. He added Bully Son, Eli Jr.
Yeah, it seems like the dogs turned out better.
I was gonna say I always heard about the old family red noses that they were really good brood stock and best when crossed. I guess like John Kramer said, the hybrid vigor kicked in. I'm not, I don't know from firsthand experience, but that's a lot of what I heard of.
Yeah, well, when they inbreed dogs heavy like that, that's about what they're best for is outcrossing them.
Okay.
When you inbreed like that.
But when it comes to the old family red and the red boys, particularly for some reason, when they're inbred, they seem to still perform a lot better than other, than most. Yeah.
I don't know about the old family red nose, but the red boy sure does. You can heavily inbreed it.
The reason why I think the reason why is because of so many different strains that made that, because OFRN is not just one dog. It's a lot of different. It's a family of dogs.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah.
Now, was Leitner really heavy into the old family red nose?
Well, that's where he gets credit for basically starting it.
Okay.
It comes from the old family dogs, which are Irish dogs. So he had Irish dogs. And so did several other breeders. And that's what the pit bull is basically English and Irish cross. So they were more heavily on on the Irish dogs, and then they started coming out red nose. So I think it was McCoy or somebody else coined that phrase to call
What,
them.
the whole
They were
family
Irish
red?
dogs, old family, and then they when they started coming out red nose, they called them old family red nose.
Yeah,
That seems,
I mean, yeah, I believe it was McCoy.
Yeah.
that seems to be a pretty dominant trait, as well as you'll see it pop back up and generations and generations later, even if they haven't been bred to red dogs, where you'll see
Right.
a red nose pop up, and it's like, damn, where'd that come from?
Right.
Man,
Well,
I love those
it's a
old family red.
the red nose is a recessive trait. It's a pigmentation
Mm-hmm.
deficiency defect,
Okay.
basically. But when you concentrate it, then at some point it's got to become dominant.
Got you.
You
Now,
know, you start breeding a lot of them, they all come out that way. Now that recessive color, those recessive trait come out. It's not just red nose. They have gold eyes and gold
toenails.
Right.
toenails.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like that.
look at some of those. Look at some of the old Ishikawa bloodlines. Some of those Ishikawa. Like if you look back, I don't know, like those. I believe that kennel, Cali Reds.
I remember hearing this ago.
Remember that? Remember that kennel a long time ago, Cali Reds, with the Ishikawa
No.
bloodlines and Dakota Chief. You don't remember that?
I've heard. No, I heard the names, but I wasn't familiar with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but those, pretty big with that. Well, I mean, I used to check out all those old family red kennels, but yeah,
Yeah.
they
California
had
had a lot of red nosed dogs.
they had
They
the
were-
red, the Apache red, those
Mhm.
those red dogs with the golden eyes and the red toenails, and yeah.
Right. And then I've seen several. They weren't pure, maybe one or two pure old family red nose, but I've seen several that had like 50% or 25% or they almost look like show dog pedigrees, but they were competed with.
Hey,
Oh,
Schoolboy Magic had a question about your take on the expert dogs from back in the day.
Yeah, the expert they come. I know a little bit about them. They come down. It's the Tacoma blood, the ruffian, kind of like the ruffian stuff.
oh,
It goes back to
Tudor's Blackjack.
the Henry dogs, right? Tudor's Blackjack. A lot of the
Now,
Henry blood.
now
That's
you
why
said
the staffs look like that, because
that's what I was
that's the
about
way
to say.
those dogs look.
I always thought, when you said ruffian, the first thing popped in my mind was Amistad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because see those dogs. When you look at some of those dogs from back in the day, they have that neat. They have that neat stature look like a. They didn't have that sloped look like some of these
right.
other dogs, right?
Yeah,
Full
Yeah,
drop to their head, thick,
yeah,
yeah,
big head. That's where it
yeah.
comes from.
Right. And
right.
so a lot of them wanted to stick with that same look, and they
Yeah.
stuck with it. They stuck
Yep.
with You didn't really start getting a lot of those houndy looking dogs and that little, until Red Boy Jocko came along, really.
Well, Bully Son.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, Bully Son was in the back
Yeah.
of my mind too, but yeah,
Yeah.
Bully
Not
Son
that
and
they're
him,
related,
yeah,
but it's
right.
just some
But just
dogs
that
come
look.
out that way.
Well,
But
I mean, Bully Son, he kind of looked like a big old lad to me.
yeah. But a
He
lot of
looked
those
more like
dogs
a lad.
had the full drop ears and the slope to their head.
Yeah.
But when they crossed it with the long stuffy longs baby, that's where you get the short squatty bow leggy type.
Right. That's the Bully Son side, right? And
It's Bully Son crossed to the Salmon Tana blood. The Bully Son dog, if it's a straight Bully Son, they're tall and long like him, with the
Okay.
hound dog ears and got the slope.
What? Wasn't Bully Son about 60 pounds?
50.
Oh, 50. Okay.
That's still a lot of bulldog.
Yeah,
Yeah. And their sister, Brandy, was bigger than them.
Brandy?
She was about 50, 55. Brandy.
Brandy, yeah.
Yeah. And then Eli Jr. was about the same size, 49, 50. They tried to hook him up back in the day. Eli Jr. side challenged Bully Son.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder
And
why.
Well, they were talking about how good Bully Son was. They were talking about how
Yeah.
good Eli Jr. was, and that who had the better 50-pounder, 49, 50-pounder.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, Bobby Hall. I guess he was like pretty pumped up about old Bully Son. He stood on. They said we went to like the highest mountain or something, and screamed, "No one can beat Bully Son."
Yeah. Well, Dave Adams, I don't know if you know that
Did
name.
you hear about that story? Did you hear about that story?
No. Yeah, no, I didn't
Bobby
hear
Hall
that.
doing that.
Yeah. Dave Adams from Ohio, he had a lot of good dogs. He ended up buying Grand Champion Zebo and Grand Champion Art. And he wrote an article one time, and he said Bully Son was the best match dog he ever saw.
Out of Grand Champion Art.
Yeah, that's what he wrote in that article.
When I talked to Narad said Grand Champion Art was the best dog he ever seen. He said
he's my favorite of the old time dogs from that era. Yeah, I liked Art a lot too.
He said he saw the match. He said he shook so hard a piece of meat flew from the dog, and he ate the piece of meat.
Stinson, who owned him for several of his matches, Stinson and Glover owned him. He told me that no dog ever scratched back to him.
No, that's what I heard too. Nothing ever scratched back. It was that devastating.
Yeah. Is anybody aware of any dogs, of course, from the past that were match dogs and also maybe competed in like those Amstaffs back in the day? Some of them would compete in the show ring and match as well.
Yeah.
Grand Champion Yanta.
Go ahead.
Another son of what's that dog? Virgil.
Okay.
What's it? Gambler's Virgil.
Oh yeah, Gambler's Virgil.
I gave the dog best in show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I know you can back me up on this, schoolboy. Now there's some dogs that when they were in the box, they'd go, but if they were outside the box, they wouldn't mess with another dog, right?
Oh yeah,
Virgil was that way.
Yeah, Virgil. Yeah, there was a video of Virgil being around dogs, just regular, killing.
Yeah,
cats and all types of shit.
Yeah, Boston Blackie had he had a female Grand Champion Daisy May, and he had a male champion Blackjack, and they lived together.
And what do you account for that, schoolboy? Is that just a matter of training? Is that just a matter of luck of the draw? You know what I mean? Like, most of the time you got box dogs. That's like out of the question. And then you hear about some of these dogs that were great in the box, and they live with cats and all. Just was great with everything.
Right. Yeah. It's a matter of the dog itself. It's the dog's own behavior. The ones that want to be like that.
Right.
Training. You wouldn't say training has anything to do with it?
Well, the training is part of it, but some dog you couldn't train them to do that.
Gotcha.
It's mainly the dog's mindset.
So you what it is you recognize that the ones that are like that, then you can put some training into them,
right,
to make sure they behave.
Gotcha.
Sometimes Daisy May and Blackjack, they would kind of start to get into it, and you have to tell them to behave and separate them. Just tell them, go over there to your bed and you go cut that shit out.
That's still pretty awesome though. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
So it's just dependent on the dog. I think they look at it like if there's not a challenge right in front of them, they don't. It doesn't affect them. if there's not a confrontation right there. Because most of them, even though they're like that, if something bowed up on them and hit them or something, they'd fight. They wouldn't just
Right.
not fight.
Right. Now, I always hear
Like that.
about, when I hear Bolio, the first thing that comes to mind, or the first thing that's always mentioned, is intelligence. Can you break that down as far as, like, why that's the first trait they go for? Like, what did he display to show intelligence?
Well, the intelligence, what they talk about is the intelligence in the box.
Right.
So they're smart, meaning they go to the head, they have good defense, they wrestle well, they know how to move.
Gotcha.
Kind of like a Muhammad Ali kind of.
Okay. Adapting
If you
different
think
styles.
of it that way. Yeah, they were game changers. Because most people like rough dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the counter to that style. How do you defeat that style? Well, two ways. You either get something the same style that's better, or you counter it with a head dog. That doesn't mean they're only head dogs. It's just they know how to fight the head. They know how to. Right. They're
keep
smart
yourself
about
in trouble.
Yeah, and they not defensive that way. I mean, it's defense because they're avoiding getting hit, but they don't just grab the head and back up and move around. They'll actually attack the head, shake it, hold them out, push forward.
Damn.
And then they move. They can counter you. Like if you go for one shot, they'll move and then grab you as you're going for that shot. So it's that kind of intelligence.
Is that a difficult trait to capture?
Not if you got a bunch of Bolio dogs, but yeah, it can be.
Okay.
Because that's the instincts of the predator, dogs, wolves, whatever, is to kill something.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a predator. So to do that, you have to go to certain spots.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bolio dogs, they can do that, but they don't come out looking for that. Most of them.
Okay. So that's definitely a thinking dog. A dog thinking on
It's a thinking dog. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Where it comes from, I don't know. I only can guess because Bolio's sire, Klaus Zeke, was supposedly a head crushing dog. And then his sire was kind of that type of dog. Lightning or Lightning 2, I forget which dog. Fitzwater. Goldie. Sorry, Goldie.
I'm starting to think that that's a product of epigenetics. You know what I mean? Over so many generations, them having to learn how to counter that rough dog style, and maybe that just got into the genes.
It dominated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It dominated, and if you focus on anything, you can get it to become a dominant trait or dominant traits. That style. So
Gotcha.
People focus on that. They were pretty much from out west, this area.
Okay.
And when they broke on the scene like that, it was just, like I said, it was a game changer. Because Bolio originally from Texas. Most of the Texas dogs or dogs in the South, they don't fight that way.
Okay.
And a lot of the guys in Texas, they didn't use that blood until later when they got it from Patrick. So I think maybe some people looked at it and they didn't like the style. And then people out west had it. Indian Sonny had it first, saw it, and they liked it. So they proliferated. They kept breeding those traits.
Yeah. Now, when you say they didn't like the style, is that because that wasn't like the classic bulldog style of just going in there all to the wall?
Right. Yeah.
I got you.
Going to the stifle, going to the chest, brisket, shoulders, like that. And they will too. Bolio dogs will do that too. But they can avoid getting hurt. They can counter. They can wrestle well.
Basically, like Mayweather, right? Some people don't like the fact that
Mayweather.
They say that he run. Right. Oh, he's a runner. He's this and that. They want to see the brawl and they want to see the Tyson.
That's a perfect match right there. Like you said, that's exactly because a lot of people don't like the Mayweather fights. He ain't in there just taking punishment. But he win every
game. Salute to you, brother. Big Hill. Big Hill.
Big Hill, salute.
Like Big Hill.
Salute El Capitano, salute Buck City, salute the panel, salute the Bulldog community. Hey, I was checking out the question in the chat about the expert stuff. It was just a coincidence. I was looking at, of course, shouts out to the Eli blood. But when I be studying Eli, if you look at Minnie, if you look at Minnie and Minnie, I was following Minnie, and she go back. If you get to a dog, to cut it short, you could pull up a Chewbacca, Grand Champion Chewbacca POR, and you could see a lot of how the old heads was messing with that blue stuff, some good blue stuff, because the question was about the expert stuff. Like, so if you look at that breeding on a Chewbacca dog, POR Grand Champion, it's coming down off Sparks, some Sparks stuff, Pete Sparks, through his I think he had a Grand Champion dog. It was coming down off of that type of stuff. But you can see how kind of the old heads was playing with that stuff. Like, I'm sure they was real rough dogs. They was always supposed to be real rough dogs and, known for bite and stuff. But, it was just a coincidence that somebody had asked about that. And, I was just fumbling through Eli's paperwork and stuff. And, I ran across how they was messing with the ruffian and the expert and stuff like that. And they, I traced it all the way up to today's dogs, how some of them still survive. And if you just look at the blue dogs they was messing with, if you hit on, they was throwing a lot of champions and grand champions, and there was a lot of people messing with them. Some of them was doing their thing, I guess. Salute. I just wanted to say that. That's all. Y'all can get back chopping on.
Yeah, I've seen not several, but I've seen a number of them in Mexico. They're that not really blue, but they're gray and seal colored. That they call it blue, but it's more of like a gunmetal blue,
Right.
kind of a dark blue. Or if you look up Fisher's Champion Whiskey, she was a blue dog.
Yeah, these dogs
The
like
blue-
Grand Champion Bull, Grand Champion Blue Max, Grand Champion Blue Max second.
Right.
Even over Mexico, they made it over there too. What I want to say, Morales, or might have been Cardenas. One of them guys, was messing with it too. Through the Bobby Hall. Bobby Hall played with it too a little bit. It was a couple good ones that they didn't mind sticking to. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. Yeah, the Bayonne Cub had Grand Champion Soga.
A lot of those breeders back then bred to some of the staff dogs because they particularly wanted that hard mouth.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. In fact, Carver's neighbor down the street, a lady had staff, and it's rumored that he would breed to her dogs sometimes.
I heard that as well.
When you kind of look at it, it was kind of like, just me looking on the outside, and it kind of seemed like they had a little war between the blue and the reds. It seemed like, some blue and reds had a little competition going on, I think.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's almost like an outcross with a I don't want to say a different breed, but you're putting in fresh blood because they have some commonalities in the back. They come from the same stuff in the back, a little bit, anyways.
A lot of people put their Hammonds. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's almost like introducing a different breed, but the same. They come from the same dogs in the past. I don't know how to explain it, but I think that's why it works. They have history behind them. Both of them do, the pit bull and the staff.
Right.
They have certain lineages are the same.
Yeah, Hammonds played with it. Hammonds, I ain't gonna say Hammonds himself, but a lot of people was mixing the alligator blood in there with that blue stuff too. And they carried all the way forward to, taking only the good dogs, I'm sure. And you get up to not modern day, like, but I trace it all the way to where there's slap some yellow on top of it. There's slap some Mayday on top of it, or something like that. But on the
Right.
bottom, they're gonna play with the Rufus, and you'll go back to that blue though, that ruffian and that expert. You can't avoid it. It's gonna be in there.
Right.
And they be good dogs though. They be good dogs. There's no hate on the dogs. They be good dogs, good structure, strong, and all that. But who's to say?
Yeah. Yeah, it's more heavier on the English side, the thicker, big head, more thicker, more durable. And there's a lot of dogs that have, if you look at their peds back far enough, you'll see PR in there. The UKC stuff.
Yeah.
You'll see that in there. If you look up like Jenkins stuff, it has it in there. Different ones.
Yeah, you start see. I think the PR. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Williams champion Willie, not the Williams we all know, but a different Williams. He had some of that stuff in him too. Chyna, she had that PR stuff in her.
Yes, sir. The PR, that's that purple ribbon, right? That's purple ribbon.
Right. Purple ribbon. Staff dogs.
And that just basically just said that they stuck with the same bloodline for a certain amount of generations.
Right. Yeah, that's what the PR stands for.
Yeah.
Pete Sparks even registered some of his pit bulls with the AKC and entered him and some of his friends entered them in an AKC show, and they won some ribbons.
Well, that's tight.
I think he did it as not a joke, but kind of see how they would do.
Right.
And they actually ended up winning some ribbons during that show. He put it in his magazine.
A buddy of mine, I remember he had got a ruffian dog. Why did he? I know why he did that. Oh man, yeah. Sometimes you get so off into the history, you start being like, I want what made this, and I want what made that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went back. It was like, yeah, these ruffian dogs go back to Tudor's Blackjack.
Yeah. Yeah. And Blackjack was supposedly a 16-time winner.
Yeah, right.
Blackjack Jr. was a 7-time winner. He's one of the few old-time dogs you can look up his record and who he actually beat and the times he beat. And one of his he would always give up weight. He was about a 48-pound dog.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
One of his matches, he gave up 10 pounds, 3, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, like that.
Because they said he was that devastating, that he was that he was that badass, bro.
Yeah, there's pictures of him in hold. You could tell they throw him down, man. They're just... Oh,
I didn't see those. I didn't get to see any pictures of Blackjack like in the matches.
Blackjack
I just saw
Junior.
Blackjack Junior. Okay, I saw the picture of him with the clipped ears when he's like, what the Blackjacks when he's standing on a doghouse or something next to Tudor.
Yeah. There's one with him next to Tudor, and there's one with him and Nelly together. So Blackjack and Nelly is what made Blackjack Jr.
Okay.
They're sitting together. So that's an example of dogs getting along.
Right. Yeah, I used to read those stories and was like, man, that's because like it would what would impress me is when they say, man, we tried to game test him, but we couldn't game test him because he was too hard. Like those stories were impressive to me back then, and I believe that was the reason. That's the reason why I ended up becoming like a more of an Eli Carver fan, because those stories were more impressive to me than dogs that went 3, 4, 5 hours. Like because I'm thinking if you're going 3, 4, 5 hours, then not much must be happening then.
Sometimes, most of the time, at some point. Even if it starts out good, at some point, they get tired, they slow down, they can't do what they used to do, and then it becomes just gameness.
Yeah, right. And so back then, that was my thought process back then. Like, well, you must not be doing much if you're going that damn long. Then what are you doing? Nobody's getting picked up, nothing's happening. And so when I heard the stories, this dog's an ace, and that's an ace, and going like Marnie and Blackjack and this dog and that dog. And I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
yeah. And
you
then
know,
a lot
so
of it depended on the rules. Sometimes they had a
yeah.
5-minute out of hold count, so you
Oh,
had to wait 5 minutes before you could handle them. So it just depends. Like I
oh
said,
yeah, they're out of hold for
mo
5 minutes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a long time.
Yeah,
So
that's a pretty long time.
that just prolonged it. But some of them, like I said, they're good for a while. And there's been 2-3 hour ones that were rough the whole way. But generally, at some point, they're gonna slow down or they're gonna get tired. And sometimes they just stay and hold for a long time, just laying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
saw
man.
two females it went 3 hours and 20 minutes to a draw. And for the first 2 hours, they were throwing down. And then they slowed down. And then what happened is one of the females, her bottom cutter got hung up in the palate of the other one.
Mm.
And they couldn't come loose. So they're sitting there for a long time. They finally get a handle. They scratch the dogs. And she went right to the same spot and her tooth got hung up again. And they
Wow.
just laid there. Finally, they just called it a draw. Both of them agreed to have a draw.
So,
Wow.
question.
But prior to that, they were hammering tongs, man. They were throwing down.
Capitano. So after the 5 minute count, and they face him like what? So what? Like, do they gotta come out, or like both of them gotta come out, or it does?
No. You have a whatever the count is out of hold count. They're not biting each other for that count. And
Right.
then the bottom dog, whichever is the bottom dog, has to scratch first.
Okay.
And then if the bottom dog scratches, then it continues. And whenever there's another out of hold, you just snatch
The
them up,
opposite.
and then they take turns scratching. So
Right.
the bottom dog
I
scratches
got it.
first, then the other one, then bottom dog, like that, back and forth.
So that 5 minutes seemed like it would make a lot of them lose interest. So lose
Right.
interest.
Right. Yeah. And some of them at 5 minutes, it's plenty of time to rest. So then they just go back at it.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah,
they
it could work. It could
get
work
tired
either
again,
way.
and then come out of hold
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you've seen enough and you do enough, everything happens. You'll see everything. Whatever you can think of, it's happened. And like I said, if you did it long enough and you've seen other people, whatever, you're going to see it. You're going to see dogs jump out. You're going to see extreme gameness. You're going to see cannibals. You're going to see pieces of junk. You're going to see whatever you could think of. Anything you could think of, it's happened.
Schoolboy.
Yeah.
It's true that that Big Red he made a L-shaped scratch because he couldn't see that
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking the way it happened was my partner at the time, he conditioned and handled him. So when we finally picked him up, he faced him up for a courtesy scratch, but he didn't face him straight up. He was kind of turned to the side, to his right side, because he was looking at the referee. The referee was crouched in the corner. So I think through his he was in shock through whatever blurred vision he had, or he couldn't see good. He thought the
Yeah.
referee was the dog.
Oh shit.
So when he cut him loose, he went to the referee. And when he got there, he's like, "Oh shit, that's not the dog." And he looked for the dog. And then when he saw the dog in the corner, he went for the dog.
Oh yeah.
And scratched to the dog. And the reason, like in the ads, you'll see where it says he made an L-shaped scratch. That's what I told the guy when I sold him. I said, just so you know, this is what happened. He was in shock. He was all messed up. And when when he was let loose, we're looking at like, where's he going? He went to the right because the referee was crouching in the corner, so he looked like a dog, I guess, to him.
Oh, right,
But when
right.
he got there, he kind of pulled up like and looked at him, and then he started looking for the dog. And when he seen him in the other corner, he went to that dog and scratched the dog. But he was messed up. He was in shock. It took a lot to save him.
Wow. What was he? How much did he weigh? About 55 pounds?
54.
54.
That's another thing. My buddy did him at 52, and he shouldn't have done him at that weight. But I let him.
That's a pretty big dog.
Yeah, he was big. He was big. When I conditioned him, he beat a one-time winner. He finished him in 34 minutes, man. Just like went right through him. But he was older, underweight, whatever. All excuses. But I don't really like to give excuses. It's just shit like that happens. You hear a lot of times people say, "I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that." I ain't never seen nobody that didn't do this or didn't do that they shouldn't have done, and they regret it later.
You know anybody else who has big red stuff besides Pitt Island?
Yeah, a lot of people had it. Yeah, Dr. Tristiani and guys in the Philippines, people in Mexico and Baja.
They have that. They have the big red stuff.
Yeah, in Texas and Delaware, New York. Yeah, even Louisiana.
3,000, man.
What's that?
Pitt Island's charging $3,000 for the big red blood, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Was Big Red the best big dog you had, Schoolboy?
Yeah, pretty much. He was the best dog I had because he was the best producer.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, you look at his production. Oh, man.
Yeah, he had about, by my count, he had about 169 offspring, and almost 100 of them were matched.
Which one is sons stood out to you the most in your memory?
Well, my favorite was the one I bred, Mr. Rowdy. And then he was a 2-time winner. He lost in 2.5 hours. And then his other son was my son's dog, Bill. He made champion. Those were two very good that I had sons off of him.
Did Bill throw something good?
Yeah. Yep. In fact, he threw my best litter. There were 4 pups in the litter. All 4 of them worked out. All 4 of them won. One was a champion. 2 of them were 2-time winners, and one was a 1-time winner. He beat a 4-time winner in 1 hour, 40 minutes.
What was that son's name?
Hammer.
Hammer. Okay, Hammer.
Yeah. And then Lockdown Rudy got Billy Jr.
Okay.
And then Champion K was a 3-time winner, and then Bambi, their sister, was a 2-time winner.
Okay. What color was Hammer, Schoolboy?
A buckskin.
Buckskin dog.
Yeah, most of my dogs I got red and buckskin.
The buckskin ones, you think? The buckskin ones, did they remind you of Jeep?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they show Jeep qualities?
Yeah. Build and style, real intense dogs. The red ones, I actually like the red ones better because they were more of an all-around dog, more of a better athlete. The buckskin ones were more the bulldozer type, just the barnstormer type.
Yeah, more like what you think they took after that bully son part that you threw in there?
Yeah, well, more after Jeep and Honey Bunch.
Right. And then
got the roach back, and
you seen them. And then when you seen in the future,
what about the roach back?
Yeah, a lot of them had roach backs like Jeep and Honey Bunch. That's where they get their power from.
When your partner starts seeing them black ones, what was their structures start looking like?
Pretty much the same. The difference was is the black ones were more serious, more quiet, and generally bit a little harder.
They start following more what you use. Bully Sunside. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bully Sun, Rascal, Eli, whatever you want to call it.
Got you. You said that ain't stay around too long. You said they went back to the buck and red though afterwards. Buckskin and red.
Yeah. Well, it has the blood. If you breed a family of dogs long enough, it'll rotate around like that. So you might introduce some black dogs, and then you start getting a bunch of black dogs, and you keep breeding along the family lines, and they'll start reverting back to the whatever color you started out with. In my case, it was red and buckskin.
Now
you'll see that in inbreedings too.
Now, hypothetically speaking, now, say you had all those generations you've seen on your yard. Say you had about 150 of them. You had your buckskins, and then when it transferred, you had all the colors that it transferred to. Now, just a question I want to ask you: could it be looked at? Now, I might be using the words wrong, or I might be using the trait wrong, but like, could you look at the different colors and start looking at them as out? Or I know you're going to look at the traits. I know some people, but like, some people will use a color as an out. You understand what I'm saying? But it's only because they know they dogs. So when they say in the color, they basically just saying, I know my black dogs more are throwing the Eli type of trait. My buckskin ones are throwing more or whatever Jeep in them. And my reds are more my whatever you saying that is. So if the traits are following the colors, then you could say stuff like my black stuff is out or whatever. You could use a color, but it's deeper than just when you're saying those words. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You're right on the cusp of it. And I'll give you an example. There's a guy in Mexico, heavily inbred Eli Bully Sun dogs. Most of them look that way. Most of them were black, short, squatty like that. But in the original breedings, they added the Long's Baby, Long's Tuffy, and Mexico's Hunter Red. Hunter Red, staff-looking dog, more taller, not short and squatty. Red. So through his inbreedings, about every 4 or 5 generations, he'd get a red dog that looked like Hunter Red. In his mind, when he used that was his outcross within his own family of dogs. So just like I'm saying, the buckskins behaved a certain way, certain performance. The reds were a little different. The blacks were a little different. That's what you can use that as some kind of measure on which way you want to go. So in his case, he didn't go outside of his yard for 25 years because that red would come up every few generations, and that was his outcross. He would add it back into his family of dogs.
Salute.
I don't know if there's a science behind it, but I know it's happened too many times to say that's not what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's an outcross per se within your own family of dogs. I go into more detail in the book I'm writing about breeding, and that's the example I give. And like you said,
to buy that, then.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to do it and see. But a lot of people, they'll go on that color because it's something from the past. And when those dogs that are that color, they show certain traits, they'll use them as an outcross, or they'll use it to add in future generations when they see it pop up. You could call it a throwback like people do. You could call it an outcross within your family of dogs or a line breeding. It depends on what the original blood you were using.
A lot of times though, like what you saying, that's still like I consider high level breeding. Like, but when people hear it, they'll run and take it and think it applies to the general population when it doesn't. Like, you have to know it has to be your family that has these different colors, and you saying these colors is outs,
Right.
and that's why you say you can't just be buying a black dog and saying, "Oh, this is a black dog," and it don't go like that. It doesn't
Yeah.
go like
No.
that.
No. There's a lot more to it. You're right. It's not just. There's a pattern to it. There has to be a pattern to it. And when you see that pattern repeated over and over, then you can say that's what it is. But unless you do those breedings and follow those traits and color and all that stuff, you don't know. You're just guessing. But it's kind of like like science. It has to be repeated over and over again before they can say it's a fact. The same method or technique or whatever it is. It can't just happen one time, or it doesn't happen randomly. In that sense, there has to be a pattern to it. So in his case, every 4 or 5 generations, he would get a dog that looked like Hunter Red. All of them black, and then in the whole litter, all of them black, but one of them's red.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then the dog's built a certain way. They're taller, bigger head, full stop, not the slope, not the bow-leggy, like a lot of the Bully Son dogs are.
So, Capitano, would you call that bulldog language? The dogs talking to you, even as puppies, the colors talking to you, traits talking to you, they're talking to you, conversating to you, right?
Yeah. They're telling you something. You just got to know how to read them. But you can't do that unless you've done it over and over again, or you see it come up over and over again. Because not everyone is gonna follow that pattern too. They have to follow that pattern.
Right.
So I'm sure in all his years he had some come out red, but they didn't exhibit the traits of the Hunter Red dog. So he wouldn't use those.
True.
But the ones that do, then you breed it within your own family of dogs. Whether it's a male or female, that's your outcrop. Or me, I like the red dogs. I developed what I call my own particular red color. And the ones that displayed that all-around ability, those were kind of the ones I keyed on.
Paul Pitch, you all right over there? Goddamn, so you sniffing 2 mountains. You like Scarface Tony Montana up on that jump, sniffing out. You filling up both nostrils, ain't you, bro? You all right over there? Anyway, Capitano, yes, sir. So when that raised Jeep cross, you grabbed that up. Hold up, what you was just talking about? You was just talking about, your man had the Hunter Red stand out. So
yeah,
the exceptions would be like those, like a red dog that's not following suit that he was thinking. That would be an exception. He might a breeder like that might even sell that one, right or wrong, because he want his reds to be a certain way. You know what I mean?
Well,
so if they
yeah, you could do that. What he did is he just culled them. He didn't keep them.
Oh, give them away. Yeah, give them away, sell them, whatever. But like, if he trying to follow, he wanted the consistency, so you got to get rid of the exceptions, right?
Exactly. But more often than not, they came out that way because it's in there, and that's the way they're built. That's the way they perform.
Sometimes the public nuts up though, because the exceptions could be real good dogs, but they just don't fit the consistency of the breeder's program. So the public can get good dogs just because they don't match a color that the breeder want, whatever, or they dance too much, or whatever. But sometimes the public get good dogs like that.
Could be, yeah. It's one or the other. They either work out or they don't. It could be an anomaly. It could follow a certain pattern or not. It just depends.
Because you as the breeder, you're gonna know if it was a freak or not a freak. So a lot of times you're not really what I could say is you're not that sliced off seeing it again. You've seen it before, so somebody else could be happy with it. Somebody else could be happy with that though. Very happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So a lot of people would have liked my Clayton Blood. He was a head dog. I didn't really like head dogs, other than the Bolio stuff. That wasn't he didn't follow the pattern of his family. He
Right.
didn't have no mouth, but he was real fast, real game, had air, the best air in any dog I seen. I never would have bred him, but somebody else might have. They might have liked that. Maybe I
Yeah,
would
of course.
regret not breeding them, but it just didn't fall. It just didn't follow what I like.
I got you. I got you. But
There's nothing wrong with
that's
them other than that. I wanted consistency, so that's how I kept it. Some of my dogs would fight the head, but they had to attack it,
right.
and he was more defensive minded.
So let me ask you this then, like historically speaking, would you think the majority of what you would call good pit dogs, and let's say they're not game like that. They're not all the way game like that, but they can wrestle. They got an average mouth, and uh, they work. But then they're not that game, but they got average mouth, and they can wrestle good. They wrestle on a high level. High level. Do you think you you think how you think that type of dog would bear in your type of day?
Not too good. Most of the exceptions, like you're talking about, people make exceptions for them or keep them because they bite hard. So an average mouth dog that's not game, that wrestles well, uh,
Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle is at the. That's what I'm saying. I'm putting wrestling at the top of its characteristics. The wrestling
right.
ability. How much does wrestling the wrestling trait? That's what I really could
Well,
be
it's
more
it, it's a,
specific.
it, yeah, it's a great trait.
Uh huh.
It's like anything else. What do you prefer?
What
And
would you
again, that's
prefer?
why
What wrestling over mouth or mouth over wrestling?
I like to have
Back
both.
in the day,
Yeah,
historically
I didn't.
speaking, of course,
Honestly, I've said this before too. I didn't make distinction like that. Just like they
Okay,
come
got it.
up with, would you
You
rather
needed,
have
you need,
gameness or you rather have mouth? I want both
right. You
because
don't
one
want to trade
without one
off.
without the other is not that good.
I got you.
A great wrestling dog that quits. Why would you keep it? It don't make no
Yeah,
sense
I
to me.
understand. I understand.
Even a
So,
hard
so,
biting dog, and a lot of people kept them hard biting dogs.
so, what would
Bite
you say?
like hell. Why would you keep it if he quits?
So,
When
what
you
would you
can
say?
make hard biting dogs that are game.
Right. So, what would you say a bolio dog was back in your day?
A good all around athlete. Some of them could bite, but because of their style and where they hit, like if you hit on the top of the head or you hit the muzzle or the bottom jaw, you don't have to bite that hard because the dog will damage its own self trying to get loose. And if you have great air and intensity and finish, and you're an all around athlete, you'll have better success having an all around type athlete than you do an expert over long term. Because with those type of individuals, every once in a while you're going to get one that bites real hard.
I was kind of, I guess I described the bolio dog wrong. I didn't want to leave gameness out, but I was kind of talking about a bolio dog. But like gameness, of course, we going on your level. I'm thinking,
Right.
all of them coming with some type of gameness. So what would make a dog stand out? And I was kind of thinking about a bolio dog. I was just kind of thinking about the
Yeah.
maneuvers it could make would stand it out
Right.
more. And I
Right.
called it wrestling ability more. That's all. I was just thinking of it like that,
Yeah.
kind
No,
of.
that's always part of the discussion. And the thing with that also stands out is the bolio dogs. A lot of them had finish, and they're real primal, meaning they're just screaming demons, and just have that intensity where you look at him, you go, man, this dog ain't gonna quit. He just ain't gonna give up. And
Right.
they fly across when you scratch them, they fly as hard as they can and get back at it, and they're real busy, and they shake 4, 5, 6 times in a row. It's not like when I say defense, they're using defense on the attack, kind of like a counterpunch.
Right. I got you.
They're not. They'll back up too, but that their intention is not to grab something and back up and move around like that.
It's like being able to throw a jab. It's like being able to throw a jab and then back up and throw the hook off the jab when they walk into
like
it.
that. And you're circling around while you're throwing a lot of punches, and you're steady throwing punches, and all different kinds of stuff. And you counter. You wait for the guy to throw something, then you counter him, kind of like that. They'll do it right in the center of the pit, right in the center of the box.
Right,
they're moving all around like that. Yeah. I guess sometimes it's hard for me to describe. You'd have to see it to picture it in your mind. But it's just a different type of individual, and that was the counter to all them rough dogs.
But what do you think about where do you rate a dog's quality, historically speaking, to stay and hold rather than combinations all over the place? I know it's different
depending on how they're doing it, I like dogs that stay in hold. It doesn't mean they don't change hold, but they work a hold for a long time.
Okay.
And they stay in that hold for a long time, and they might switch to a different hold and then they stay there. But if they're biting all over the place, if they don't bite hard, they never settle down. It's just like a boxer or dog, even a hard biter, they have to have their feet planted to get leverage, to be balanced. So if you're kind of all over the place and you never settle down, you don't really hurt the other dog. But I like dogs that stay and hold. That was one of the reasons that they like that they use Daibo's topside, Hubbard's Gimp. It wasn't that they were devastating dogs, at least that's what Heinzel told me, is that them dogs stayed in hold. They stay in hold for 30 minutes at a time. They just wouldn't let go. They would stay busy. They're always doing something. So I took that to heart. And that's how I like my dogs. Stay busy. I don't care if whatever it is you're doing, I don't care what it is, as long as you're doing something.
Right. That's a like, have you noticed like that doesn't come in every dog. That quality of staying and hold does not come in every dog.
Yeah. It's like anything else. You got to breed for it. That's where you get the consistency.
Do you know any lines?
When you breed individuals that have the traits you like,
yeah,
and you keep breeding those individuals, that's where you get the consistency from.
Did any line stand out to you with the ability to close that stayed and hold more than others? Did you notice, or you just found it anywhere?
Yeah, it's in all dogs. Some won't, some do. The difference is what do you, when you're breeding, is that what you're keying on? Is that one of the things you're keying on? So I'll say it again. I like my dogs to stay busy. I like them to stay in hold. I didn't like them turning. I like them screaming in the corner. I like them scratching hard. I like them always doing something. I like intense dogs with finish. I like speed and strength. So it's hard to get all that in one individual, but you should always try. And if you get most of it, then you start seeing that consistency. Anybody back in the day would tell you, if they saw one of my dogs, they'd say that's a schoolboy dog. They all fight the same way.
So would you put that hold, staying and hold and all that? Would you put that more on what you would call what kind of trait would you put that more on the intensity side?
I just put it in. They don't want to let go.
Right.
It's in the breed to do that. It's in the breed to do that.
Right.
That's the whole purpose, is to and Then you follow, well, where are they? What holds are they taking? Why are they doing that? Are they
Right.
trying to finish their opponent? Are they taking the right holds to do damage? That's what matters. Where are they hitting the dog and why?
I
And
got
what do
you.
they do about it when they get there? So you could see that in any bloodline.
I got you. I understand. I'm looking up more of how you one can like, because I'm transferring over to like everyday things, like just everyday things you might could do like legally with a dog, and how you can still
Yeah.
use these, how you still can
Well,
measure these
I'll
traits,
use this example.
measure
I'll
these
use this
traits.
example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you like to use a treadmill,
Mm-hmm.
and you breed your dogs, and all of them learn how to use a treadmill, and you keep
Mm-hmm.
doing that for generations and generations. At some point, regardless of whether it's a young dog, an older dog, 1 year old, 2 year old, 6 months, 4 months, whatever, you throw them on
Mm-hmm.
that treadmill, they're going to start running it
Mm-hmm.
without being taught anything. They're just going to do it. Why? Because it's ingrained in their genes to do that,
Gotcha.
in their mind, in their soul. So you could do that with anything. And I learned that from our cow dogs. My dad really didn't train our cow dogs to work cattle. They just did it naturally because it was bred in them for so many years to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to teach them anything, and he could give them commands and they would do what he said.
Mm-hmm.
It was a trip. So I took that with my dogs. I could get them to do certain things, or if I see a pattern and I breed for it of them behaving a certain way and fighting a
Mm-hmm.
certain way, if I bred those dogs that did that, I was going to get more of them that did it.
So it's really like an upstairs thing in their mind when they puppies, like playing with them and stuff like that. You would think like focusing on their determination and make them push through things when they playing with stuff like that, more like that, instead of just throwing a ball out there and letting them play with it. That's
Right.
still
There you
exercise
go.
too. That's still
There you go.
exercise too, but like try to challenge them more, like make them push through different things as early as
Right.
possible, and
Exactly.
then you'll kind of make, you're watering that seed of determination and wanting
Right.
not to let go and stuff like that. If you get into their mind with it, I understand. And then maybe if you
Right.
get one right, if you get one right on that, especially a female, I would think, and then they might start passing it along if you ingrate it in whatever you imprint it early enough. You know, if you do it
Right.
enough times early enough, you might can start getting them dogs to imprint that stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm just in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's studies being done, and they've probably been done for a while, but they're starting to realize that the animals, regardless of what it is, are actually talking to each other. They have a language. So how early is that language imparted on that understanding imparted to them? For instance, this is a little off topic, but I'll put it out there anyways. They have an area where dolphins and seals get together a certain time of year. The dolphins have their own language; they can speak to each other. The whales have their language; they can speak to each other. But both of them use a third language to speak to each other, cross species like that. So they're actually talking, just like when birds sing or they chirp or whatever they're doing. They're actually saying something. So with dogs, whether it's how they're emoting their voice or their body language or whatever it is, they're actually speaking with each other, so to speak.
Right. I salute that. I salute that.
Now there's more that'll come out, and why and what for and all that, I don't know. But you see, like I said, how do these cow dogs just go to work and do the work? Because they've been doing it for generation after generation after generation. And it's
Right.
not one particular family. All of them will do that.
Right.
And cutting horses, they do the same thing. It don't take a lot to train them. It just takes a lot to refine them to do certain things. But you get a cutting horse, he's going to start cutting. They call them cutting horses because they cut a certain individual out of the group of cattle, and they
Okay.
separate them. So the horse instinctively just does that. Then you're
Gotcha.
refining it to which one do you want to be cut. That's what you have to show the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And we
And then
time
you
it.
notice.
How long?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just
How
going to say,
long?
and they time it. That's how they do the competition. They time it. How long does it take for this horse to cut this particular calf out of the herd or this cow out of the herd?
Now you growing up with them horses and cows and stuff, and you seeing all that, and y'all, I guess y'all having was the horses having kids on y'all land? Is what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to ask you was your pops and them noticing like some of the horses started doing certain things younger, and they would start like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
And
okay.
those are the ones you pick for the work.
Gotcha.
They have
Just
to
like
be able to work cattle, so they can't be
Gotcha.
scared of cattle. They got
Gotcha.
to be able to, whether they're communicating with the cattle or by their actions or whatever, they can get the cattle to do certain things, whether they're rounding them up or cutting them out of a herd or making them go this way or that way, whatever, or go onto a ramp and
Right.
get in a truck,
Right. So they get more special and special. So then, like as you seeing it more and more, the care of those animals become better, which means you're not going to let them certain animals go through certain mistakes that the previous ones went through. Each time you should be better and better taking care of that special one, right?
Right. And as you continue to breed those types, you get more of them.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing with dogs.
I'm following.
Whatever trait it is, whether it's intelligence or shoulder dog or whatever it is, weight pool dog, I honestly believe that somebody could take the pit bull, breed them for weight pool, and they'll have a weight pool breed of pit bull. That's what they do. That's what they know how to do. It's ingrained in them, and over generations, that'll be a weight pool dog.
Got you.
Why not?
I got you.
Because they've taken certain breeds of dogs, like a Mal. It's an attack dog, right? A guard dog. They were originally herding dogs. So they actually changed the dynamic and changed the way the dog thinks from herding to attack and guard.
So it just comes with doing something repetitive over and over a long period of time.
Over again.
Yeah, over and over and over again. And then they're going to start being what they do. They're going to start being what they do.
Yeah. And again, speaking of the past, let's say I wanted my dog to hit the throat. I would place him on the throat over and over again. Hit the shoulder, put him on the shoulder, over
and over.
And then you let the one that's being hit there, he learns how to defend against it or counter it.
Yeah.
That's part of the schooling. People think schooling, you just throw them together and see what they do. You can teach them all kinds of shit. If you can teach a dog to jump through a fire hoop or ride a bike, why can't you teach them to do certain stuff, what they're bred for?
Right.
You can teach them to hit the stifle. I know people, they point to where they want their dog to go, and the dog will go because they taught them that. Hit here, go there. They'll just point.
So what you just described basically is what was done before you for at least 100 years. Somebody doing shit over and over and over again. And when you got the product, it was just like stuff was imprinted, and certain stuff was already imprinted in your dogs.
Right.
And
it's in there.
Yeah, got you. I understand.
And you just take advantage of it. You repeat it over and over again. So a lot of people will say, which is true, you got to find out what the dog likes to do, and then use that to condition the dog. I didn't think that way. I wanted them to do my keep the way I wanted them to do it.
Okay.
So I taught them from when they were little. So by the time they're 2 years old, there was no problem going through my keep. They already knew how to do it. They already went through it. Never had one that didn't want to work or was scared of this or like that. No, man. But you got to do that again, that repetition over and over, teach them or at least expose them to it so that by the time they're grown and you want them to condition them or work or whatever you want to do with them, they'll do it.
Being around people, being around people, we influence our animals real heavy. So when they start showing traits, what I want to say is, what about those ones that show those what you call uh the ones that set the they did something different. They did something different. You don't know where they picked it up from. You try to figure that out, but it might be like all of a sudden your dogs got smart on you. You understand what I'm saying? They got smart on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you know, what you do, like, you know, sometimes things that they pick up could be bad for your program or it could be good. It doesn't
Right.
matter. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's just like a dog that's taking its breed further. That dog might be taking your shit in another direction that you might not want to go in, but that dog is doing the right thing. It's going, so it might be getting smarter. You might not want your dogs to get that smart, but like, you can't
Right.
hold that dog back. You can't hold that dog back. It was just getting smarter. You know, it's just taking your life. It's telling you something. It's
Right.
telling you like, oh,
Right.
hey, you got,
Right.
yeah.
Now, and that smart, that intelligent, it could be good or it could be bad.
Right.
For instance, I had a dog. He was raised in the house. Good dog. He was a pit dog. Everything. But he liked being in the house so much when we put him outside, and he knew how to be on a chain. That was not a problem. But as he got older, he didn't want to be on the chain no more. So when we put him outside, he would bark all night
Right.
long,
Uh-huh.
all night long, and never shut up.
Uh-huh.
So that wasn't a good thing. Even though, like during the day when the kids are out there, it didn't bother him. It was just at night because he was out. He wanted to be inside because he
Uh-huh.
was used to being inside a lot.
Yeah. So a lot
So
of times when these
you
dogs,
can, yeah, you can influence them a good way, a bad way, or they could pick up on
right,
stuff
right.
a good way or bad. You know what I mean? Yeah, some of the stuff you teach them is not good, you know, like that.
Right. And they might be telling you that. They might be telling you like, oh, we need to change up. The family need to change up because the dogs need to
Yeah,
pick
man.
this shit
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
arguing too
Right there.
much. Now they want to bite
Yeah.
everybody. You know,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
all that type of shit goes on for real.
Yeah. No, that's
Some
a
people
good
like it
point.
though. Some people like it. Some people like it though. They be like, shit,
They
they
do.
just like us. You
Yeah.
know, hey.
Yeah. For another example was we didn't discipline our kids in front of the dogs because I didn't want to get the dog thinking that they could discipline the kids too. So if there was a problem, we'd make sure the dog wasn't around or we'd take them to the other room and do whatever. Because the dog might pick up on it. And when the kid does something the dog don't like, he might discipline the kid. How's he going to do that with his mouth
Right.
or scratch them or jump on them or something?
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't even do that.
Yeah. Capitano, I just came on here to chop it up. I didn't know I was gonna be this long, man. But like, I salute you as always, man. Salute you as always. Salute Buck City. Salute Paul Pitts. Salute the Bulldog community, man. Everybody stay royal, man. Salute. I'm out, bro.
Salute. Thanks for the
All right.
conversation. So any questions in the chat? Buck, you still there, brother? Or Paw Pit, you there? All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Good talk, good chat. Much respect to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk soon. Peace.
All motherfucking pits. Oh man. Everybody's curd out. You see that? Sometimes it boils down to this, the last man. Oh yeah, you know that. Buck City, you know what it is. We got the keys to the city. We get it in on a regular. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We giving you this fresh content all the time. And we appreciate the support because the support is what it is. It's what separates the other channels from us. You dig? Salute to all the members. Salute to my boy D West for winning that puppy. You dig? And everything that goes on. You dig? Everybody have a good night or morning, whatever's going on in your life. And I'm going to try to boot up. I don't know if I'm going to go up early, but I'm going to try to boot it up in the morning, you dig? And get it going, get some more stuff going. Be more productive. Have more good conversations. And we still banging on them snitches. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot. Merino packs.
Oh, shit.
You smoking Merino packs or what, bro?
Smoke a Merino pack. What's the other one? Sambo pack. What else we smoking?
Hey, I'll have what he's
Smoking
having.
mellow yellow pack. Smoking.
Not the mellow yellow packs.
What else?
Shit. Oh shit. That's crazy. What's up with